Okay, after fully understanding the ksqlDB architecture and the internal components, let's keep start how to deploy the ksqlDB server and the cluster. The ksqlDB has a two deployed approach. That is the interactive and the headless. You can deploy our ksqlDB stream applications using other interactive or headless model. In both deployment models, ksqlDB enables distributing the processing load for your ksqlDB application across all ksqlDB server instances. And you can add more ksqlDB server instances without restarting your application. Please pay attention. All servers that running in a ksqlDB cluster must use the same deployment model. Let's see the interactive model. When you deployment a ksqlDB server in interactive model, the REST interface is available for the ksqlDB CLI and the Confluent Control Center to connect to. This allows you to add and remove persistent queries without restarting the service. Actually, the interactive is the default model. In interactive model, ksqlDB shares statements with the service in the cluster over the command topic. The command topic stores every SQL statement along with some metadata, which ensures that the statements are built capability across ksqlDB restarts and upgrades. As you can see this figure showing, this is an interactive model. The client can use the REST API to connect the ksqlDB server and then submit the query statements. This figure is more clearly. As you can see, once the developer submits the SQL statement through the REST API, the SQL statement will be stored into the command topic. That is the internal topic, automate created by ksqlDB server. Then those SQL statements will be shells, paths, and executions by ksqlDB server engine in parallel. Okay. When you deploy a ksqlDB server in a headless model, the REST API interface isn't available. So you assign the workloads to the ksqlDB cluster by using a SQL file. This can be useful if you wanted to completely lock down the set of the persistent query that ksqlDB were running. The SQL file contains the SQL statement and the query that define your application. In headless model, you supply the SQL statement to each server in its SQL file. But the ksqlDB still needs to store some internal metadata to ensure that it builds queries compatibility across restarts and upgrades. As you can see this figure showing. Once we deployed the ksqlDB server by headless model, the client will not connect to the ksqlDB server by REST API because the REST interface isn't available. Okay. This figure is more clearly. As you can see, when we bootstart the ksqlDB server instance, we need to specify the query SQL. That is the SQL file. Into the SQL file, we can define some persistent queries or create the collections. And those statements will be also stored into the config topic. This is another internal topic, automation created by ksqlDB. So some sensitive data processing job we can deploy by the headless approach. We no need interactive approach, and we can lock down the set of the persistent query. This table is about interactive cooperation with the headless model. It's not hard to find the headless model support a little bit features. It only supports the set of the query properties and persistent query or create a collections directly. In future lectures, I will introduce and demo the headless model. But in our course, I will use the interactive model for the demo and tutorials. Besides deploy the ksqlDB by interactive model or headless model, we also can deploy by mixed model. This deployment model is my myself summarized. I think this is the best practice. We can deployment 3 ksqlDB cluster for different types of stream job execution. If a job needs a long-time execution, and we can let execution as this cluster, ksqlDB cluster, and if we give it a name, it's a having watch, right? ksqlDB service ID is long term. If the job is for quickly query purpose, we can execution at this short time ksqlDB cluster. We named ksqlDB service ID is a lightweight cluster name. Some job is processed sensitive data, not allowed edit and query since the ksqlDB cluster running. We can deployment by the headless approach. And also we need to give it another name as a sensitive. So we can use the resource pool model or mix the model for the different execution job or for the different purpose. Right. This lecture I introduced how to deployment the ksqlDB cluster.